sentence is talking about. However, this is where now we're turning. Neither of these two substances, whether alone or combined, I think that's important, with one another will attract mosquitoes as much as a bare human arm will. Even in complete darkness, where a mosquito has no visual cues. Therefore, conclusion, some other gaseous substance given off by human skin also attract mosquitoes. So they give you like that background information, and then the author turns it around and that's where that, however, neither of these two substances alone or combined with another will attract mosquitoes. So it's like they're saying, kind of gives me the idea of it could be other things that could be attracting mosquitoes, not just those substances at the top. And then they throw in, we put a bare human arm. With this one, I'm wondering, like, bare human arm, does that mean it's not producing any kind of gaseous substance? So all of that is, I think, then they throw in where a mosquito has no visual cues, so that it has to be something to do with probably smell, I'm thinking, or it's something other than visual of how a mosquito is being attracted to a human. So the conclusion, some other gaseous substance given off by the human skin also attracts mosquitoes. That goes into, it's not just the two at the top, it could be other things that are attracting mosquitoes to you. And that could be diet, it could be your perfume. That's what I started thinking of or examples of why a mosquito might want you. It might be your blood type.
Okay, so I think the reason I missed this question is I get ate alive by mosquitoes. Like if I go outside, like I've had hundreds of mosquito bites on my legs before, like I have that blood type. And I was thinking my bare arm, I could have a sweatshirt on and I will have 100 mosquito bites. And so I just don't think I could wrap my mind around. I thought none of these were necessary because I'm like, no, this is not how mosquitoes work. So our conclusion is some other gaseous substance given off by a human skin also attracts mosquitoes. I remember my prediction was that I think I predicted something like the arm has to be bare, because that's what I was thinking, like that it was exposed, but that's not it at all. And I think that's why I really struggled with this question. I think it was like my outside information. I was like, I don't like any of these. But we're saying so at least one other gaseous substance given off the human skin must also attract mosquitoes. What kind of question is this?
Necessary assumption.
Necessary assumption.
Because we have the word requires, relies, or depends. And so once we have a necessary assumption, we're accepting that this conclusion is true. It can be very flawed. Our goal isn't even to prove the conclusion. We just accept it as true. And we're like, hey, if this is true, this is something that has to be needed or is needed. So we tend to want a more mild answer. So what did we narrow them down to here? Or what answer choices did we have altogether? What wrong answers did we have?
I was stuck between B and D, and I ultimately chose B. And I know why it's correct, but I really was like staring at D for a little bit.
Okay, perfect. Did anybody else say anything else other than those two?
I think I can see why D is very attractive.
Did you get this one right, Cora?
I was literally going back and forth, and I did it twice because I was like, let me do it timed and then try to do it untimed. And I picked two different answers for this one. Because it was so hard because I was trying to go back into the stimulus and I'm like, well, it talks about the bare human arm. And so, so yeah, for this one, I was leaning, because at no point I was like, they're not talking about body heat, but that could be. But I'm like, D, they do talk about, because they're talking about, that even in complete darkness, they don't have visual cues. So that's why I chose D.
Right. No, that's it. I picked B the first time because I was like, but if they are attracted to humans by, yes, I think I chose B the first time I did this. And I was like, but if mosquitoes are attracted, this is why I don't like this question at all. Because I think both of these you could make an argument for, where it says mosquitoes are attracted to humans by body heat.
Mhm.
And I think for some reason I felt like that destroyed the conclusion, because I was like, but if they're attracted, because like this is like I was just thinking myself, like, yeah, if that's true, then how do we know that it's the other gaseous substance that they're giving off and it's not the human's body heat? With even in complete darkness, where D is saying mosquitoes are no more successful in finding a bare arm in darkness than in light. So this one, if we would negate it, it would say mosquitoes are more successful in finding a bare arm in darkness than in light.
It doesn't do anything to.
Right, right.
Because even if they are more successful in finding them in darkness, does that matter?
Nope.
No.
They just really throw us off with that even in complete darkness. Because even if we can find them in both situations, they could still be another substance giving off the human skin that attracts the mosquitoes.
Yeah, I think the second time I looked at this, I don't know, I think I've just visualized it different. I think the first time I read it, I couldn't separate the idea that the conclusion was trying to say gaseous substances given off by skin. And so I always like put human into it. So I think I was trying, whereas the second time I read it, I was like, okay, human skin gives off these two chemicals. Even if you take these chemicals and you separate them and you isolate them, the arm is still going to be the best, like regardless of that. So I think like separate, I think that's why I was so confused and I picked B because I didn't pick B the first time because I think I was just not able to divorce the concept of like arm versus the gaseous substance.
I agree. I think that this is one of the I wish I should have
And it
worded
was
this
just
question.
and also just,
What?
I was just gonna say, and I also felt like it was there. These were just weird necessary assumption answer choices. Because one of the things I'm like, okay, necessary assumption, no introducing like outside information. So I think that's why D was also so attractive. Because I was like, okay, it's keeping within our STEM, but then, and like B looks like it's introducing something different, but it's not, but like it looks like it. And so it was tricky.
No, I
Yeah,
agree.
I agree with you. I even considered E at some point because it was talking about the gas. So I'm like, does that even fit? But when I initially read it, B felt like it was right, but I was just questioning myself because it wasn't talking about like they were saying like the gaseous substance.
Right. So this is one where it comes into if this was almost like a weekend question, if you think about it, like one way that we can weaken is by offering an alternative perspective. And for our conclusion here to be true, we have to it has to be true that there's not something else causing it, which is where like ultimately we can go with B. So if you do notice the flaw here, I think that makes it a little bit easier. But if you missed this question, I would not feel bad. This is only a 3-star question, but I think those that struggle with mosquitoes get this one wrong more often. E is a good example though of something that's too strong. The word never. That would steer me away from that because that would be too strong. Like human skin never gives off a gaseous substance that repels mosquitoes. And also, we're trying to say that there's at least one something else too. So E would actually completely contradict our conclusion as well. So, and D, going back to D of why it's wrong, even if they are more successful in finding a bare human arm in the dark than in light, do you think that like maybe it's not necessarily like the darkness of it, but like maybe like in the dark, like maybe in the sun in the light there's heat, and this doesn't really make sense, but in the light there's a heat and our like the sun, like there's different gases that come out, a different smell that comes off. Like I know that's probably not, it would make more sense if they were more successful in the light than the dark. For like that example, like the sun, like there's a different smell, so like maybe they're attracted to that gaseous substance that comes off, which I don't think is true, but Or maybe our hormone levels are different at night and that's why they're more successful at dark. I don't know. Like it doesn't have
I
to
like that one
be.
better.
There we go. Sorry. Yeah. I don't really know enough about our body to think that, but that's why it doesn't, like, that doesn't matter if they're more successful one or the other. It can still be the gaseous substance that's allowing them to do that. Yeah, I don't have very good analogies for that question. I